Next to leather jackets, I think that a Sherpa-lined denim jacket is one of the most badass looks around. And I actually specifically remember my father had one, and probably a Levi's or something like that. And I remember going into the woods with him when we would go and cut firewood. A lot of times we'd take he had an old Jeep Grand Wagoneer. We would go out to the woods, find a couple trees that were fallen or you know, that need to be taken down, cut them up, load them into the Wagoneer, bring them back and split them. And I still remember going out there with him. He would cut the wood. It would be my job to bring it back to the Jeep and load it in the back. And I remember him getting, you know, all kinds of wood chips stuck in the collar of that thing. And, you know, I really don't have like a whole lot of memories of my father, but that's one that I remember very, very vividly. So of course there are plenty of options out there, all the way from a $98 Levi's up to and exceeding the Freenote cloth RJ2 at $900, which is actually what we're going to be talking about today. And we're going to take that jacket and we're going to compare it against a $200 Brave Star jacket, because they're both great companies, Brave Star and Freenote cloth, but I think that they're really going to serve two different customers. So I want to kind of go into the differences between a $900 jacket and a $200 jacket. Just that way you have a couple data points to make the best decision for yourself if you want to buy one of these. Now, of course, I know what a lot of you are thinking, and it's probably the same thing that I thought. $900 is too much for a Sherpa-lined denim jacket. I remember seeing these on the website thinking, wow, that's beautiful. Wow, that's a really expensive price. Not for me. And that is until I went into Manhattan. I went into Manhattan with my wife. We actually met up with Upstate Style guy from Instagram and my buddy from K&H Leather, Tucker, and we hung out, we got lunch, we kind of walked around for a little while, going into a few different shops and just enjoying the fall day, and we went into a shop called Slightly Alabama. In that shop, they had one of these on the hanger, and it's a really, really cool shop. There's a little French bulldog running around, plenty of really cool things that I've only seen online, and it's hard to really get a feel for until you actually pick them up. Lots of those kind of things on the wall and on hangers. So I saw this Freenote cloth RJ2 on a hanger, and I immediately went to check it out. Again, I knew the price. I knew that I wasn't going to walk out of there with it, but I wanted to see what the hype was all about. I picked it up. First thing I noticed, damn, this thing is heavy. And it is. I mean, it's really quite heavy, more than you would expect for a denim jacket, even lined in shearling. Picked it up, looked at it, unzipped it, tried it on, and zipped it up, and it was like, whoa. It was one of those feelings where it was like, this is something really special. And I remember going over to my wife and saying, hey, what do you think? She's like, wow, that's a really nice jacket. How much does it cost? Of course. And I said, $900. And she goes, put it back. And so I did. But I'll tell you what, when I got back from that trip, I kept on thinking about that jacket. Man, I haven't felt something that really made that much of an impact on me in quite a while. So this jacket kept on going through my head, and I was just so impressed with it that I finally decided that, look, I got to get one of these things. And I ordered it. And after quite a bit of buyer's remorse, the jacket came in, and I was reminded of everything that I loved about it to begin with. The satin-lined pockets, the dense, heavy, stiff feeling, everything about it, the fit that was form-fitting but not too tight. I mean, it was just really spot on. Freenote does a lot of great things. I have their Mariner jacket, but they really, really hit the nail on the head with this one. Now, the RJ2 comes in 3 different colorways. A lighter version with white shearling. This model, which is kind of a more vintage, darker denim. The denim is a heavy 20-ounce Japanese variety from Kuroki Mills. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And it features a Red Wing leather from SB Foot Tannery patch in the back. And some very heavy-duty Japanese universal zippers. Something that I've noticed over my years of doing this is that great clothing oftentimes is a lot like very nutritious and great food, where you can read and understand all of the very simple ingredients. You know what everything is. This jacket is no exception. 100% cotton denim, 100% shearling, 100% satin. That's it. I mean, metal zippers, but I mean, that's basically all that goes into making this up. No really interesting, crazy poly blends with God knows what inside of it. Very simple, pure kind of thing. And I'll tell you what, have you ever put your hands into satin-lined pockets? That's what I imagine royalty feels like all the time. The thing is with heavy denim and leather is usually it comes at the expense of mobility. But luckily, this jacket has a little trick up its sleeve with the gusseted back. Now, this isn't something that's unusual. You'll see this on a lot of jackets. But what's interesting about these gussets is that they're actually elasticized and they'll go back to their normal shape. Now, the shearling on this is not the thickest I've ever seen, and I think that was probably a trade-off for the fit. If they went with something very, very pillowy and dense, then you would sacrifice some of the fit. However, what you can do is you can layer underneath this, and I actually kind of prefer that in a way when it comes to these transitional kind of jackets, ones that aren't really meant for the deep freeze kind of thing. They're somewhere in between. This you could easily, if you put on a merino wool light sweater on underneath or something like that, you would be good to go, probably down to 20 degrees or so. I mean, everybody's a little bit different, but I did notice that. The shearling is not the thickest, most insulating thing out there, and the sleeves are only lined in satin, so I think that there was a little bit of a compromise there, but I think they went the right way with having a great fit and a slim silhouette, as later on we'll see with the Brave Star, they went the opposite way. And it's a trade-off that I think is worth it. Again, if you layer underneath, you should be just fine. If you really, really want to be warm, like extremely warm in extremely cold temperatures, go get a B7 parka. You ever see one of those things? That'll keep you warm, I mean, until you really just shouldn't be outside. Now, without any alterations, this jacket is basically perfect fit for me. This is in large, and I think that if I was going to change anything, I may shorten the sleeves a little bit, but now we're getting really nitpicky. It fits me wonderfully, and I hope that it would probably fit you as well, especially if you're a guy who's not super duper slim. Like some of the jackets that I've covered, you really can't get into unless you're in decent shape. And if you're a bigger guy, unfortunately that takes those out of the running for you. This, on the other hand, as it is slim fit, I'm not a slim guy. I'm a stocky guy, and it fits me pretty well. So I think that if you're built similarly to me, then you shouldn't have a problem. If you have a little bit more in the gut, maybe size up. But most people will think that it's stupid to pay $900 for a jacket. I don't even care if it's a leather jacket. I mean, that is leather jacket prices. Why would you spend that on denim? And I do understand that. Believe me, I do. My wife certainly understands it and wanted to make that very, very clear. I get it, but luckily there are options. As a matter of fact, this Brave Star that I'm going to talk about now may be a better fit for you depending on what you're going to use it for. You know, the Freenote is a great jacket, there's no doubt about it, but it does have its limitations. So, let's talk about this Brave Star. This denim is a gorgeous, yet lighter than the Freenote, 14-ounce Cone Mills dead stock denim. And I actually have a pair of Brave Star jeans in a similar Cone Mills unfinished fabric, and they're one of my favorites of all time. This denim is slightly hairy and has some cool irregularity to it, but it's a much different feel than the Freenote 20-ounce, which is actually quite a bit smoother and more rigid. Also, being a mid-weight denim, the jacket moves pretty freely without issue, so there's really no break-in necessary. The lining is a polyacrylic, which means that this may be a better option for those who have sensitive skin. It's also unaffected by snow and rain, being synthetic rather than natural, so if you're actually planning on using this thing for work, the Brave Star is a better bet. The differences continue down into the sleeves, and where the Freenote has only satin-lined sleeves, these guys went with a quilted insulated option, which will definitely be warmer. Inside this jacket, you get two pockets, a patch pocket and a welt pocket, so storage is actually better than the RJ2. Styling is entirely subjective, but the fit of these jackets is quite different. Now, they're both in large. The Brave Star is definitely more generously cut. And again, I'm sure a lot of this has to do with the insulation that they added and the lack of gusseting. This fits me more like an XL, and to be honest with you, I probably should have sized down to a medium. For layering underneath and ultimate warmth, the Brave Star is definitely the way to go, but there is one thing that bothers me though, and it's those shoulders. I think it's an effect of the insulation, but they're just too big, too wide. Overall, the Brave Star is warmer, lighter, roomier, has better storage, and is less expensive than the Freenote cloth version. If I had to run out of my house because it was on fire in the winter and I had to grab only one of these jackets, it would be the Freenote. Now, not just because of the expense, but if you want a jacket that'll keep you warm and look cool, the Brave Star does a wonderful job at that. However, if you want to put on a jacket and feel like an absolute rock star, the Freenote is the one that will do that for you. So which one you choose is really up to you. Now, these are smaller companies, so these items may not be around much longer, or they may be something that comes back every year, re-released. but I would imagine they're probably going to follow the same formula roughly if you're watching this in the future. So listen, guys, thank you so much for watching. Really do appreciate it. I'll catch you next time.